Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second part of setting up your Twitch ad game. Yes, this is the video where we're going to go over all the actions that you need to set up to make your Twitch ad game work. Now, if you're viewing this video and you haven't viewed how to do the first step of this, well, then you need to check out this video up here first. This video is going to go over how to run the ad game, how to set up your winners, how to determine your winners, how to tell chat that they lost because they couldn't guess it right. Get ready, there's a lot of information that comes at you in this video. Just stay calm, you've got this, you will get this set up. If I could do it, so can you. All right, let's do this. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add, and I do this by numbers, so I'm going to do 2, and I'm going to call it run ad. To keep everything together in the groups, I'm just going to put it under the same thing as the ad manager, and I'm going to make sure my queue is the advertisement. This way, everything's running separately from anything else that you're doing. So then we have the action in, and now we need to set up our sub actions. All right, so the first thing you're going to want to insert is in core, you're going to go to actions, and you're going to do run action. And then you're going to go ahead and select that random movie generate. This way, the first thing that happens is that first action we created is going to run before anything else we add comes into play. Now, to make sure everything's going to work the way I want, I always add just a little bit of delay after an action, just to make sure that everything's going to run smoothly. Now, this part is optional, but you can do this if you wish, is to send a message or send an announcement to your channel. So here I just add a Twitch message and just say, hey, the ad game is about to begin while we play some ads. This is completely optional, but it is something I serve for my viewers to let them know. There's another action that's going to get set in here. Now, we haven't set up some of the things that we need yet, so while we wait for those things to get set up, I'm just going to go ahead and insert a couple comments where we need to, so when we come back to insert them, we know where to put them. This is going to be something we're going to set up at a later point once we start really building some of the more advanced features of this. Next, I'm going to do a source visibility state. And in here, we're going to do hidden on the whatever you named your timer. And this is the timer leading up to the triggering of your game. The next thing I'm going to add here for now is just a comment letting me know that this is where we're going to disable our Streamer.bot timers. So with that, we do need to do a core file IO and write to file. In here, the file to write to, you'll click, find the folder that you put your management in, and we're going to choose the status text. And yes, you do want to replace it. So in here, you want it to automatically write no. The reason you have it write no in this particular spot is that way, in case there is no winner, we can always draw on the fact that there is not a winner. There will not be a winner unless that the winner part is triggered. So once we have that, we can just hit OK. And the next thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to go to OBS sources, set GDI text. So on this text, we need to do the win-lose part. So in here, this is basically just where you would say, you all lose. And this is going to be defaulted, so that way, if nobody wins, this is already set and ready to go. Now, this next part is optional in case you want to obscure movies, making sure that your chat can't fully tell what the image is. In order to do that, you would need OBS plugins such as the OBS shader filter or Ashmanix's blur filter or anything that can kind of obstruct the view of the image or just change it in a way where it looks a little bit unrecognizable. And if you need help with OBS plugins, I have a video that goes over how to install them and showing how you can use filters to make certain things happen. So what I have here is I have on my movie scenes, I have pixelate, frosted glass, a blur, a pixel art. I have all these different ones. And so what I do is I go ahead and add one, like let's do the blur. So the blur is going to become visible. But then I want to have it randomize and be different. So I'm going to duplicate this sub action, and then I'm going to edit it and choose a different one, like let's do the pixelate. So now let's say I just want these two filters. Well, then what we do is we take one, right click, and go down to add group. It says new group. You can rename this. And I would say obstructions or obstructions D. You know what? I'm just going to roll with it. But anyway, what you're going to do is with these filters is you're going to drop them into the obstructions folder. This folder we just created. Now, they're in here and you can hide them, right? Well, additionally, with your groups, if you right click and you can actually do random, what this does is actually choose only one of them to implement. So this gives us the ability to mix it up and change it up as needed. Again, this part is completely optional, and however you want to do this is completely optional. This is just what I did, so I can just give you the full breakdown of what I'm doing. Plus, if you've never grouped stuff up in Streamer.bot and randomized in this way before, it's actually fun because you can set weighted limits on each one. So if you want one to come up more often than others, you can actually set those weights. All right, so the next thing we want to make sure we're doing is actually bringing that image up. So what we need to do is we're going to set our source visibility, and we just got to make sure that our movie scene comes on. Now, if you set a filter for this, you would actually have a filter to where it would move on or move off. But if you just want it to simply pop up and just be there, this is how you would do it. It's just turning it on. So now we need to add a delay, and we want to make sure we're adding a delay long enough that everybody gets a chance to see the image before the ad plays. For me, I did about 5 seconds, which seems to work okay. Depending on how much you wind up lagging, you may want to add more time just to make sure that everybody has a fair chance. Now, the next thing we're going to be adding is the dreaded run the ads. Ugh. So here you go to Twitch, you go to ads and run commercial. Now here you can set your duration for however long you want. I do 1.5 minutes. So we're going to add this run commercial. Yay, woo. Because it can take a couple seconds for the commercial to actually kick off, I've added a delay of just 2 seconds. The next thing I'm going to be doing is going to my OBS, and I'm going to be setting the visibility state of my timer. So this is where I have my 90-second ad timer. This is where I make it visible. This is how, if you set it as a browser source or you built one or however you're running a timer for your 90-second ads, this is where you turn it on. Then I add another message. And this is just letting everybody know that we have officially kicked off the game. Now I get to put in another comment, and this is going to be to turn the chat check on. This will be another action that we're going to have to be putting together. We're going to have a timer that we're going to have to enable, and we also have to turn off the trigger timer. So these 3 actions are basically the end of this part. All right, congratulations. We have where the ad starts running, we display the picture, and we've set up to basically where that happens. Now we've got to set up how this is all managed and taken care of. Okay, so we're going to be adding yet another action. So I'm going to call this 3, and I'm calling it check chat, putting it with the ads manager, putting it in our advertisement queue, and now we've got to start building how to check our chat. So up here in the triggers, you're going to need to add Twitch, chat, and chat message. So this is basically anytime a chat message is entered into your Twitch chat, it's going to automatically run this action. And yes, it will check every single message. All right, so our first sub action that we need to set up is Twitch user, get user info for target. We need to set this to user. That way, whoever has sent the message, it's their information that's being logged. Next, in the core, I have put in the logic of an if and else statement. The variable here is going to be the username equals, and I'm going to put myself. If it's me, I want it to completely ignore me from this because I shouldn't be included. So it doesn't need to do anything, and all it needs to do is break. This way, if it's me that sends a chat message, it will just automatically stop and not count me towards anything. If it's not me, then it's going to continue on as if nothing else happened. I only figure it's fair that I don't play the game because 1, I created it, 2, I probably know all the answers. So that doesn't seem very fair. Next, we're going to go into our globals and we're going to do a set global. We're going to call this variable the chatter. Basically, we're just going to be setting the name of somebody and saving it. Now it's up to you whether you want this to be persistent or not. You can make this temporary and have it parsed after you close down Streamer.bot, or you can keep it for the next time. It depends on you. I keep it persisted just for testing purposes, just to make sure I can track to make sure everything's going right. In the argument section, you are going to want to put user. The user's name is going to get stored as chatter, and we will be able to use this in other actions and use at a later time. The next step is going to be determining if the chatter has found the answer correctly. Now, this is where if I knew how to code, this would come in great handy, because the way this is currently set up without code is technically not the most reliable. May need to be played with more. This is something I'm still trying to kind of hone in and harness. But because everybody's been begging me to make a video of this, here's my best solution at this point in March of 2024. Okay, now we get the tedious task of setting up all these if-else statements. But before we get to do that, we need to go to our core, go to globals, and we need to get a couple of different things first. So we're going to need to get the global variable that we had in our first action that was answer search, and we're going to put it to the destination value of response search. And default value you don't need to set, but in case things go wrong, I like to put whoops, just so that way I know I made a mistake. Okay, so we also need to set up yet again another get global. And here we need to get global title, exactly as I spelled it. You can set this to whatever variable you want to make it easy. I like to do exact title. This way I can distinguish which one it actually is. And I'm going to put the default value of oh no's, just because I need it to be a little bit different from the other one so I can tell which one may have screwed up, in case it did. Okay, now we're going to start getting into our ifs and elses. So we need to go to logic, if else. So the first one we want to be searching here is our response searches. So for the variable, we're going to get message. I can't ever say this correctly, and Terrier Darts has tried to get me to, but it stands for regular expression. So I guess it would be regex. This is supposed to be able to kind of take an idea of what's being said in the message and comparing it to the value we're putting in here, which this would then be our response search. So now we've got the response search put up. Now, if this is true, if the message does have a regex match of response search, then we would need to do our winner, which we don't have set up yet. But if that is the case, then we can do a break, and that would be the end of it. If it doesn't match, then we just continue on. Now, the best part about this is we can just right-click, duplicate the sub-action, come up here and double-click, and then I would just change this from regex match to contains, and we will be doing the same thing. We'll be putting the winner and then break and going forward. We're going to be doing this quite a bit. Next, we're going to duplicate this one, double click. If message now contains exact title, it'll be the same thing. Additionally, we're going to copy this one or duplicate that one, double click, change response search to exact title, and we'll be setting the action to winner, and we'll do that. Now you would think that would be enough. It's not. Next, we're going to be going and doing another if else. We're trying to make sure that we can capture as much of correctness as we can for the chat. That way, you know, they don't feel like they're getting cheated. So in here, we're going to put this response search variable and contains, and the value is going to be input 0, and make sure that is in your percent signs. This will also be a break, and we will choose the winner as well here. We will have to come back and change all these once we get the winner one set up. Again, we're going to duplicate that. Now, instead of input 0, we're going to put input 1, and we're going to duplicate this up to 5. So what this essentially is doing is taking the first word in the message and comparing it to, does it have it in the response search? Now, again, the response search does not include the, and most of those common words or the symbols. This way, it's going to focus strictly on the keywords we need from the title. That's the reason why we're not using the exact title, because then the word the will trigger everything. So this is basically how the check chat is going to work. If you feel that 6 words here is not enough, or however many, just keep adding the inputs as you go. It'll stop when it needs to, because if it can't find anything, then it's just not going to trigger anything. Now, if we go back to the run ad part, on this turn chat check on, what we're going to do is go to core actions, and we're going to set the action state. And then we're going to choose the check chat, and we're going to enable it. This is basically saying turn on the ability to check the chat for these specific things. By doing this, we're making sure that it's not constantly checking. It's only checking during the game. We will also be turning this off at the end of the game. Next, I think that would probably be the easiest thing to do is to set up the winner. We add an action, set up the winner, put it in the ads manager, advertisements. Now, if somebody was to actually get this correct, this is the action that would run to make sure everything is going to work as we would want it to. So the first thing we need to do in the actions is we need to go to our globals and we need to get the variable name we had set was chatter. Destination variable, let's call them winner. Default value, null. Sure. So what we're doing is we're pulling in the name of the person that has basically become the winner. The next thing I would like to do is in my OBS, go down to sources, set the GDI text. Then on the win lose, the one that determines yes, they won or no, they didn't. In here, I put the person's name and just a little message after this. This way, if somebody wins, it will change the text on OBS to make sure it displays who won and saying that they're the winner. Next up, we need to go to core, file, write to file. You remember this, our status text? Well, we're gonna be writing to it. You don't wanna append to the file because we're really just gonna overwrite this. And what we're gonna do is we're going to change it to yes. We are changing that status to saying, yes, we have a winner. This way, when we go to end the game, it'll check for that status. Is it no or is it yes? If it's yes, we have a winner. It does what it needs to do for the winner. If it's not, then it's just going to tell it, hey, y'all lost. The next thing we need to make sure is we go into our core actions. We're going to set the action state and the check chat. We're going to disable now. This is so that way, once we have a winner determined, nobody else can change that. If you like to keep track of how many times each of your viewers wins and you like to create a little competition and maybe, you know, kind of instigate some fights, this next part is to basically keep track of everybody's wins throughout however long until you decide to reset it. So to make sure that whoever's winning is getting attributed, we go to core globals. We're gonna set another global. So we're going to be setting for a user redeemer. So you'll go from global to user redeemer, make sure it's persistent so that way you're always keeping track of how many times people win. You're gonna set their individual variable as add game wins. This way you know what it's for. You're gonna change this box from argument to increment, and you're going to go up by 1. This is basically adding 1 for every single time they win. It's not enough that we have incremented this. Now we need to go to globals. We need to go by the redeemer. The variable name was add game wins. We're going to set this as user wins for our variable to draw upon, and a default value of 0 just in case, but you shouldn't have any problems. Now that we've done that, we are going to do another file IO, and we're going to write to file. This time, we're going to be choosing the record wins. And here, this is where I'm going to be basically inserting the Twitch message that we want to insert once the game is over. So for instance, I have that the chatter, which is our global variable we brought in, won. Congratulations to that chatter, and now has this many wins. The user wins variable we used right here has that many wins within the game. This is how you know, hey, you've won this many times in our ad games. And now that is set. Now, if you're wondering if you need a trigger, no, you don't, because all your triggers are going to be back here in the check chat. So for each one of these logics we did, we're now going to do the action as winner. So now we're just going to go through and we'll add winner to each one. So now we have it that if any of these come back as true, the winner action that we just set up is going to get triggered, thereby making your check chat go red, saying that it is no longer enabled. This will make sure that your chat cannot be checked for any more correct answers. Okay. Now we're going to add another action, and we're going to call this the win announcement. And as always, add the same things. All right, for this one, all we need to do, we're going to go to core, globals. We're going to get the global title, and I'm just going to go ahead and call it movie title. You name it whatever you want, and a default value of whatever you want, just to, in case something goes wrong, you can track it. Next thing we're going to do is go to core, file IO. We're going to read lines from file. In the read lines from file, we're just going to go here and we're going to choose the record wins and hit OK. Next, we're going to do a Twitch send message to channel. And in here, to pull the information from that reading of the text file, we're going to put line 0 in between 2 % signs. And then you can add whatever you kind of want to this, like, you watch too many movies. And this is all you really need. If there's anything you want to trigger here, for me normally I have where confetti comes down and I have an action for that already. Or if you have anything already set up as a congratulations type thing, you just go into core and the actions and run the action. So whatever congratulation things you like to add, you can just by running those actions right there. That does it for the winner. Now, what about the losers? Well, let's do that one. Add loser announcement. Except I can't spell. Same group, same queue. First sub action we're gonna do is we're gonna come to OBS, sources, set GDI text. Choose the scene, choose the win lose, and I'm just gonna say it, you all lose. Next thing I added was the Twitch chat, send a message to the channel, and just add something, hey, y'all lost. And then if you have anything else you like to add to this, you would just put it. Source visibility state. I actually have where the price is wrong sound comes up, bum bum ba-dum, wow. I have that play, when they lose. Add the delay because it's like 5 seconds. Duplicate, edit, change it to hidden. There we go. Now it's going to give the Price is Right famous "you're wrong, you lose" sound when they all lose. You can add whatever you want. If you want somebody to pop up and tell everybody that they suck or, whatever, or maybe you want to be uplifting, who knows? But you can set that stuff up right here. Okay, now we need to set up how the game ends. So we'll do end of game. Same group, same queue. Now we're going to come to these sub actions. First thing we want to do is core, file, IO, read specific line from file, and we're going to read the status and hit OK. So it's going to read the first line from our status. So basically, hey, was there a winner? Yes or no? Additionally, we need to make sure that we set the action state of our check chat and make sure that it also disables here in case there was no winner. And don't worry, it won't destroy anything if you disable twice. Then I add a little bit of a delay, not a lot of delay. Then I'm gonna go to sources, set source filter state. And this is where we've got to turn off our filters. So to make sure this happens no matter what, and we don't have anything go wrong, every single filter you have, you're gonna wanna put in. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set one up like this, then I'm gonna add the group, come up here, and I'm gonna add it to this group. I'm not gonna set randomization up. Now, the reason why is because we wanna make sure all these happen, but I don't wanna look at them when I'm searching through, so that way I can close it out. I'm gonna rename this filters off. This way, when I shrink it down, I know this is all the filters being shut off. So in here, we need to make sure that we duplicate and change each one of these to turn off every single filter we could have potentially put on it. Then we can just hide that and move on. Now it's time to show the text. And for me, I have those come on with the move source filter. If you don't want it to use a move filter, you just want it to appear, you would do just set a source visibility state of the different sources, such as your GDI texts. For me, I'm actually got scene filter states that I can work with. And if you look, I have where the movie can be full screen. I have a mid size, that way it shrinks down to where my viewers can see me as well as the movie. And the movie gone, this is when I would want to basically hide that, and basically the game's over, it's done, needs to go away. But in here, this is where I would do the movie full sized. I'm going to duplicate this, click, then I'm going to do show the title. This is where the GDI text for title comes up. Not only do I do that, we're going to show the winner or the loser. This way, everything is present. If you had shrunk down the movie at all or whatnot, I didn't put that in here, but this way, the GDI text for the title comes up as well as the winner or the loser. So those then get enabled. And again, I add a small delay just to make sure that everything is going to run smoothly. We're going to add a logic, if else. Here we got to do the line variable. And if it equals yes, and I do ignore case because sometimes I do it capitalized, sometimes I don't. I'm weird like that. But here then we would do the win announcement, and we will select, and it would continue. If it is not a winner and it's a loser, we select, do the loser announcement, and continue. This way it's going to go, what was it? Was it yes? Cool, they won. Did they win? No? Cool. They lose. We insert that. Then we add another delay. I put 4.5 seconds here. And then we've got to basically just make all this go away. So I'm going to duplicate each one of these. And then I'm going to change them. I got to have the movie gone. We're going to hide the title, and we're going to hide the winner or the loser. And then I'm going to add a delay of 1 second. And then there will be additional things we will be putting in here in just a little bit. Okay, I know I'm throwing a lot at you guys, and it's not exactly the cleanest of things me trying to explain this, because even setting this up, I got confused myself. But it worked. At this point, this is where I would say put a test trigger on your run ad part and just test to make sure everything's triggering as you would want it to. This is where you're going to start fine-tuning how you want to set up the visual presentation of all this. Determine whether you just want to turn sources on or you want to do filters where you've got move transitions going. Kind of play with those settings, because this is where, okay, cool, I want to make it look aesthetically right. I want to make sure that all this is correct before we move on. This is also going to give you a chance to identify maybe any issues you have where maybe your variables, you accidentally put an uppercase instead of a lowercase, or you just misspelled one of your variables. This is the most common issue that I had, was sometimes I just got jumbled up with all my different variables. Go through, double check, test, make sure it's all working. If it's not, start from your random movie generate, then to the run ad, and then check chat, and just keep running through those things to kind of figure out if everything's running as smooth as you need it to. If you need any help, again, you can leave a comment, ask me, say, hey, this is going on. Join our Discord. I can absolutely give you better explanations in the Discord and can help you more one-on-one that way. You made it to the end of the second video, or at least hopefully you did. The video up here, this is going to be the last video you're going to need, and it's going to go over the automation from starting your stream to ending your stream. Everything that needs to happen to make sure those ads are running every 30 minutes, and you get warnings, you can delay, you can do all the different things you need to be able to do is going to be in that video. So I'll see you on that one. Need any help, let me know.